Because not everyone is accepting. Not everyone will embrace the vulnerable side of you. They say that if a man has 5 close friends, if you count them on one hand, you are a blessed person. They have 5 close friends. Here's a statistic for you that alarms me in the ministry. And this is, I've seen this stat now going back at least to the early 90s and up to recent. 70% of those in the ministry have no one that they call a close friend. Let that sink in for a minute. There's no lonelier role than this right here. So, it's important to be vulnerable with somebody. We got to have some folks that we're vulnerable with. Someone that we trust and they trust us. It's a mutual give and take. We can share the ugliness of us. We can share our dreams with that person and they'll be accepting of it, even if it's outlandish. They'll still say, that's who you are. I accept you for who you are. We should have a core of safe friends, 3, 4, 5 if we're blessed, that we can be vulnerable with and able to draw from and to add to. There's a give and take. It's not a selfish thing. We should be giving and taking. They should feel like they can trust us and they can share their vulnerability with us. However, often the difficulty lies in finding and choosing that group. How do I find that person? And I know I've said this statement, you should find safe people, but how do we go about doing that? So our next few weeks, I want to flesh it out for you. But we're going to start with this point today that I want to bring to you. What is the beginning point of those safe individuals that we all need in our lives to confide in and trust? How do we find safe people? Has anyone ever had someone that you confided in and it came back to bite you? You're probably off right. That's called lesson learned, right? You step out, you attempt to try to be vulnerable with someone. The thing about that is how we react to that. Because there's basically 2 choices. I can say, okay, didn't work with this person, for whatever reason. Maybe because of their own wounds or whatever. But I'm not going to stop trying. I want to continue to find those people that I can add to and they can add to me. The second choice is, like my wife talked about, I'm going to put my armor on, and I'm going to wall myself off. I'm not going to let anybody hurt me again. I'm not going to give everybody an opportunity to betray me again. One of the things I've watched and I've viewed in ministry over the years is watching people go from one bad relationship to another. Like they go to this. I don't mean romantic even. I mean it can be, but not just that. I'm gonna try this person and discover they're not trustworthy. And so then they go try someone else. But they don't bother to gauge that person or figure out how do I gauge who's safe and who's not. They just try it again. And there's a person who's not safe and they try it again. And this pattern of relationships that don't work, that haven't worked, continue to hurt them, and eventually they do wall themselves off. So there's got to be something we can look at and say, how do I discover someone who's safe? How do I go about choosing and being that safe person? Right? Because it's not just one way. I want to find someone safe, and someone's safe, and I want to be that safe person. People. So let's look at Matthew chapter 7, verse 3 to 5. We all know this passage of scripture well. May have put a little different spin on it for you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, a lot of times there's a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and you'll see clearly. Remember that phrase. You'll see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Let's leave that up there, Jared, if you would, for good. See clearly. Jesus ties our focusing on others' faults to our own problem in being able to see well. He ties in our focusing on other people's faults to our own problem in seeing. One of these days I want to have a thing made up, put on my head with a big plank sticking out for illustration. You know, got this giant plank. Planks are big. I remember when we were building the building, maybe we had planks that we would use for different things. Were yay wide and, 8 foot long or whatever. They were huge planks. I got this huge plank. If I got a huge plank in my eye, what can I see? I can't see anything. And I'm trying to pick the speck out of Jerry's eye. I can't see clearly because I got my own planks. We all have our own planks. Often we do not face what is getting in the way of our being able to evaluate people, and it's our own character issues. It kind of starts right here in this heart. We tend to look for people that are like us. Well, if I'm a wounded person, I'm probably going to attract a wounded person. If I'm a person with addiction problems, I'm going to probably attract or be attracted to an addicted person to try and relate to. We pick unsafe people and relationships because we haven't come to grips with our own baggage. I believe that statement's in there, Bill, I think. We pick unsafe people and relationships because we can't come to grips with our own baggage. You choose what you know. When I first became a presbyter, a little over 6 years ago now, I was placed in this situation with this group of men that I felt were way above me. Intellectually, spiritually, whatever. When I first sat in that room 6 years ago, I was like, are you kidding me, God? Somebody made a mistake. And it was actually the first couple of years, even going to the meetings. There was a couple of times I talked to our superintendent and said, I don't know if I should do this. I just don't know if I fit or whatever. And he assured me, no, there's a reason God has you here. And he began to help me understand who I was. So I actually asked him, why do you think I should be here? He asked me to serve on other committees. And why? Why do you want me? It didn't make any sense to me. I felt like I had nothing to offer. He said, well, here's what I see. And he began to tell me what he saw. That was huge for me to understand myself, who I was, how God was mine. But it made me, being on a presbytery, get out of my comfort zone, to be challenged in ways. And I realized my voice is just important in that group of men than anybody else's. I didn't have to be like Joe so-and-so or Pastor so-and-so. I was who I was. And my voice was important. Because God put me there. God's put you where you are. Your voice matters. But we have to deal with our baggage. And God was bringing the baggage up in my life. My own insecurities. John, I put you there. I put you there for a reason. And so I started building a relationship with some of these guys. I felt like, man, they're just light years above me. But I've come to discover there was mutual respect. They respected for who I was and my gifts. I didn't have to be like them. I tell you, there's some of those pastors that sit in there. They have an ability, when a problem arises, they can articulate the answer, and it just blows me away. I said to them, that's not me. I'm a plotter. It takes me a while to figure things out, if ever. But I'm there for a different reason. But we have to deal with our own baggage. Insecurities that we carry around with us. Things that were said to us when we were a child growing up, perhaps, by a parent or someone else, teacher or whatever. Siblings. Other kids that we grew up with. We allowed other people to label us, tell us who we were. Instead of saying, asking God, who am I? Let God answer that question. His word does, by the way. So, we're these bundles of insecurities and these bundles of hurts and wounds and baggage. And we tend to be more comfortable around those who match that description, who won't stretch us. That in itself is not a problem, but we've got to make sure that in that we're safe with one another. None of us are perfect. That doesn't exist. We all got our stuff. We all got our baggage. Let me ask you something. I'm going to ask you for your help a little bit here. What are some character flaws that might cause us to form relationships with unsafe, unhealthy individuals? What are some things that you can think of? Character flaws, or you can even say sins, I suppose, that might hinder us and cause us to form relationships with unhealthy, unsafe people. What are some things? Just shout it out.
Lack of self-esteem.
Lack of self-esteem. Who am I God? Identity issues. Good. Who else? Being too sensitive? Okay. Being oversensitive? Could be. That's probably grounded in some kind of a hurt or wound. Okay. What else?
Narcissism.
Wow. Yeah. Ego. Pride.
It's easier to be held to a lower standard than a higher standard.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. What was that?
It's easier.
It is easier. Yeah. I'm not stretched that way. None of us like to be stretched. It is a painful process. No stretching, no growth. You stay chained, as we sang about earlier. What else?
Not able to stand up for yourself?
Say it again.
Not able to stand up for yourself?
Stand up for yourself. Insecurity. All right.
Accepting flattery.
Accepting flattery. Too easily wooed by flattery. All right. I was told a long time ago when we first came to Penn. The guy was the assistant superintendent at the time. He said, "John, treat flattery like perfume. It smells great, but don't swallow it." I've always kept that in mind. What else?
My mother used to say, "Elope stinks." That means self-praise stinks.
Yeah, there you go. Very good. Ego just gets in the way. You have thoughts? I got some stuff. How about guilt? We carry guilt around for whatever's happened or whatever has transpired in our life. You carry around guilt. It's a chain around your neck. How about shame? Not good enough. We kind of mentioned that a little bit. The shame in and of itself. How about a victim mentality? It's always everybody else's fault. Boy, we're good at that. So easy to blame rather than on our own. How about perfectionism? Good luck finding another person who will be safe with that's perfect. That doesn't happen. We'll talk more about that. It's not about finding a perfect person. Good. Pardon? Greed? Could be. How about fear? I mentioned it a little bit what you were talking about, but fear in general. Just afraid that what'll happen. Well, denial? It's only a place in Egypt? Denial? You can't live in denial. Did I have any problems? I had it now. We talked about pride and sinfulness. How about a know-it-all attitude? You can't tell me anything. Our superintendent went to visit a church, I won't say where. He invited himself to go. He called the pastor, said, I want to come and visit. He wanted to see the state of the church. Small church to handle people. He went there to see, honestly, what the state of the church was, to see if they could help him. So he went there for the service, just handled people, and took the pastor and his wife out for lunch. And asked him, how can we help? What can we do to help you and to see your church grow and thrive? He said, you can't tell us anything. We know everything we need to know. Basically he said, just leave us alone. Wow. So here's the common denominator in choosing unsaved people, is the people choosing them. That's the common denominator. Why do I keep choosing these relationships? Think about it. What's the common denominator in the relationship? It's you. The person choosing the relationship. You got to look at yourself. Your own things that you wrestle with. Look at that verse of scripture, Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, above everything, guard your heart. That's the wellspring of life. Life, the vitality, all that we are, all that represents us is in our heart. All that we hold dear, the things that are dearest to us, we need to guard our heart. Guard what comes in, what influences us, what wounds us. Deal with it quickly. Don't let it become an infection within us. Guard it in terms of what's in there that has gotten through. Deal with that. You and the Lord. If necessary, you and a good counselor. Guard your heart. From our heart flows the issues that we keep finding ourselves caught up in. We find that we have recurring dynamics in our lives, such as hurtful relationships with people, that we must look first to ourselves to see what in our hearts cause these things to happen. Why is it I keep repeating these patterns? I mentioned this before. I watch it in relationships with people. You know, they'll go with so-and-so for a while, they'll date them, and they'll just jump right in that relationship, both feet. They end up in bed together. Might even have a child together. Doesn't work. Bail on that one, go to the next one. What do? Same thing. Jump right in, both feet. Perhaps having a child together, living together. There's a reason why God has a pattern of how relationships will work. And that is, I'm talking about specifically the romantic situation right at the moment. Now, there's a way that pattern should work. Get to know somebody. You start to commit yourself emotionally. You need to get to know them first before you ever go in their bed. Before you ever think about them. Get to know them. I can't tell you the marriages that fail because the person presents one light for one thing, and then you marry them, or you don't marry them, but you end up involved with them, and discover, wow, that's not the person I started with. Get to know them. So in a non-romantic relationship, same thing. You can't just jump into a relationship without getting to know somebody. You start to share it at, a surface level. You get to build a relationship with someone that you think, this could be a good friend. Nobody friends, right? You all look like me like I'm not here. We all need friends. More than just your spouse. Spouse, yes, obviously. But others. Men need men. Women need women. When those men can't figure out women, women can't figure out men. So we need to have that too. But you test the waters, Okay, well maybe, I told you a story about a pastor. I asked about getting to know. We met at a neutral location, and I went in both feet. I shouldn't have, that was my fault. But I shared something, blah, it's kind of vomited. He looked at me like deer in headlights, like, I realized, this was a bad move. That was my mistake. It wasn't his fault, I don't blame him at all. But we were at different places for sure, and I realized that's not the relationship I need. And I wasn't for him. But you do gotta take steps. You gotta be willing to risk a little bit. Have you asked yourself lately, why am I still dealing with the same issues in my life? Round and around the same tree, spinning my wheels, getting nowhere. Perhaps you need to consider, honestly, the issues of your heart that have you choosing unhealthy relationships and prevent you from getting the proper emotional and spiritual help that we all need. We don't need more intellectual help. There's things we can learn, no doubt. But the emotional and spiritual needs that really fuel the fire of our hearts and souls. Peace with God, peace with men, right? Those are the two areas. Spiritual and emotional is how I deal with people and the relationships I have. God has wired us to meet Him, but He's not wired us to live in isolation. We need each other too. Vertical, horizontal. John, you can back up if you would, Bill. I want you to think about this. Spend some time with the Lord and ask Him to help you to understand, first of all, the dynamics at work in your heart and your mind. So start there. It begins with God. It begins with prayer, seeking Him, asking Him some questions. You know what? One of the things about God I love the most? He's not a self-centered, narcissistic God. He's not like that. As you get to know Him, not only does He reveal Himself, yes, but He says, let me show you you. Let me show you the real you that I made you to be. Because none of us are alike. We're all different. We're all wired differently. God wants to show us the true you He made you. Joanne read about the rock, white stone. We'll have a name on it that only He knows. Our name. I don't know what all that means yet. John Demetrius and I think it's our superpower. We were talking about that earlier. I don't want to be invisible. I want to fly, John. Anyway, there's a rock with our name on it. It's us. We're wired differently, like nobody else. So ask Him, what is going on in my heart? What are the things in my heart that hinder me, that keep me going from unsafe relationship to unsafe relationship? So that as you begin to understand how your heart and your mind are working, you begin to move forward into health and maturity to strong, loving, healthy relationship. You may need some counseling. There's some good Christian counselors out there. More so now than any time in history. We can help you work through some stuff. I'm not saying you have to go the rest of your life or something, but it might help get you over the hump, as they say. You begin to understand things about yourself. Counseling saved my marriage. My wife and I going to counseling was a huge, huge factor. Being able to talk things out, work through things. Here's the thing about as you begin to move towards health, though. You begin to understand about yourself. It doesn't just stop. Generally, you don't get stuck again. Once you start down that journey, you begin to understand yourself. There's always that a life of self-discovery continues. God continues to show yourself things about yourself. I'm continually learning things about myself because God loves to show me His handiwork. Let me show you more about me. This is also how I wired you to be. Wow, I didn't see that. There's layers to us. We are, what does Psalm say? We are wonderfully made, right? What does that go? Fearfully and wonderfully made. That says a lot about how we're made. We are unique as an individual. Think about it. Think about how in good, healthy relationships we can help each other. It's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. Bounce things off each other. You're probably not going to have an army of close friends. That's okay. If you have a few, you know you're safe with, you share your heart with, you can trust them. They can trust you. They can share with you. A few years ago, I was in a real tough place, just relationally. And those of you who know Sonny Kirby, is part of our church. He's in Geneva now. He and I go way, way back. When I was a young teenager, just came right after Christ. Sonny was 12 at the time. We became friends, fast friends. And he moved back to New York and reconnected with us, which was awesome. Sonny was a place where he was suicidal, I'll tell you that. He came that first Sunday, we had our church picnic. And he came to the church picnic and everything, and he came to say goodbye to the invitation. That was his objective. I didn't know that. He didn't tell me until, I don't know, a few months later, I suppose. The funny thing was, as much as we were there for him, and he's doing amazing now. God's just turned everything around for him. When he came to the time, I was in a hurting place. I needed an old friend. And he was that old friend. As hurting as he was, feeling suicidal and all that, I needed him. I told him so. I said, listen, I needed you just as much as you needed me. I was at a place where I needed an old friend. Who I could just talk to, hang out with, who knew me from a long time ago, knows all the stories, all the bodies are buried, and still loves me, still wants to hang around. We needed each other. That's a great thing. That's an awesome thing we can have in God. We continue to love on each other. I'm so very pleased at what God is doing in his heart and life. He's come 180 degrees. God's healed so many wounds. And God's healed some wounds in me through his relationship with me again. We don't need a ton of friends. We don't. We need a few that are really, truly safe friends. So begin your journey today. God, help me understand what's in me that is causing me to choose unsafe relationships. And as you do that, find maybe you need some counseling, come let me know, come talk to me. But begin that journey. Don't be afraid. All those things we talked about that keep us from those safe relationships, press through them. They're there. Maybe you have some. God bless you. I hope you do. Hope you do. Maybe you have to close your eyes for a moment. Thank you, God. God, thank you. You're a friend who sticks closer than a brother. But God, you also recognize how we need one another. You saw Adam in the garden, Lord. You walked with him. You were literally physically with him, but you still recognize that he needed another human being. And you created Eve. We need one another, Lord. God, we're wounded, hurt people with baggage. And that's okay, we can admit that. There's no shame in that. God, we need others. Help us to let go of fear and pride, guilt and shame, and embrace our need for others, Lord. God, give us wisdom now as we look inside to understand who we are and what prevents us from building safe relationships and healthy relationships. Do not let those things hold us back, God. Find health and wholeness and healing, God, so that we can help others and they can help us. Help us, God, to get the plank out of our own eye to see clearly. Deal with our own issues, God. God, I just want to bless the moms today who are here. Grateful for each and every one of them who sacrifice for their children, for their husbands, to give of themselves, Lord. I pray your blessing on them. May this be a great day, Lord, I pray. Thank you, Lord. One of our guys is going to set up, go ahead and say, we're going to set up in the back there. We're going to have a treat for you moms here. We're just going to get things set up. Have a blessed day. Bless your mom. Tell them how much you appreciate them.
Father of kindness, you have poured out grace. Brought me out of darkness, you have filled me with peace. Giver of mercy, you are my help in times of need.
We can take this stuff down Tuesday.
Lord, I can't help but see.
Catalyst here. Or you can
Faithful you are.
catalyst here. And then the first half.
Faithful wherever you will be. Faithful you are. All your promises are yes and amen. All your promises are yes and amen.
What? Your phone is the only
Beautiful Savior, you have brought me near.
Yes.
Pulled me
Later.
from the ashes, you have
Ready to count some money?
broken every curse. Blessed